right, welcome team, good morning and welcome back to Wino-Vision here at Blue Island, our continued wine training. Of course, Sean and I have been with me here again today. We are here to continue the wine series, and we just did a wine change a couple weeks ago. So we're going to talk about some of the new wines in 3 different parts today. So right off the bat, 2 new Chardonnays by the glass. We have a Chablis, and then we have our entry-level Chardonnay. So let's hit the Chardonnay, the Chablis first. We were just talking, without a doubt, that Chablis has become a huge seller, right? This is probably our 2nd Chablis we've had on the list in the last year. So we unfortunately are no longer able to get the old one. So we are bringing in what I think most of us call the Drouin. Although, looking at my notes here, it's really in French called Domaine Douan Vadun. But I think for the sake of what our guests are going to say, right? Of course, we never want to correct the guests when they say, I'll have the Drouin Chablis, but it is the Douan Vadun Chablis, okay? So just like all Chablis, lots of green apple, it sees no oak, not going through malolactic, so it is, again, the perfect expression of Chardonnay, I think is what they say in Chablis, right?
Yeah.
So tell us how this wine is selling.
Like you were saying, this one's actually been selling incredibly well. Seem to run through cases of it pretty regularly. Like we talked about last time, just a very easy, classic seafood pairing. Real light, bright acidity, kind of nice, subtle fruit notes to it that make it just a real, dry white wine drinker's favorite go-to. I pair this with oysters all the time. I sell it when I'm selling lobster rolls. Goes great with crab legs, kind of any of that kind of more shellfish, especially a little more buttery, creamy seafood you could think of pairing up with this guy. So yeah, it's been probably one of the most popular ones next to the Sancerre and of course the Wither Hills that we sell by the glass.
So let's remember when we're talking about wines at the table, people, I still think, have a bad impression from the early 90s of boxed wine Chablis. This is a very, very elegant wine. As we know from our last videos, Chablis is a region of Burgundy. So this is our white Burgundy by the glass. Next up, we have our new entry-level Chardonnay. This is replacing the One Hope we learned about earlier on in the series. So as our new hires are going through the training, you're going to hear about One Hope, and then you're going to get to this video, and you're going to realize we're at the replica. This is from the Umpqua Valley of Oregon. Umpqua Valley of Oregon. A lot of our guests are not going to know about Oregon Chardonnays. We're very cutting edge at Blue Island. We have moved away from California, and the reason we have done that is because we want a better quality entry-level Chardonnay, and I think we have it here. So, tell us a little bit about the Chardonnay.
Well, this one's really interesting. This one kind of blew me away the first time we were tasting with the reps because they told us that it gets 100% malolactic fermentation. Normally, when you tell me that with a Chardonnay, I'm assuming it's going to be a butterball. I'm assuming I'm tasting Rombauer, I'm tasting Duckhorn, I'm getting nothing but butter and toast and oak on there. But this guy actually maintains such a high acidity that it tends to cut right through that butteriness. So you'll notice on the palate when you take a sip, you're going to get light, bright kind of citrus fruit. You might even get a little peach apricot, something in that vein, and then you'll get a little bit of the buttery creaminess, but then it's all going to get kind of washed down the back of your palate with just this high, light, bright acidity. Just kind of cuts through everything. So it's a weird almost cross between a French and an American style Chardonnay, and I've actually really been enjoying this one a lot.
And I think that makes sense. Our guests know Oregon because they drink Pinot Noir from Oregon, right? And if we think about wine, we'll geek out for a minute. Where's Pinot Noir from? It's from Burgundy. What's the only other grape they grow in Burgundy? Chardonnay. And so, where this is sitting in the world and why Pinot Noir does so well is the same reason why Chardonnay does so well. So over the next couple of years, we're going to see more and more Chardonnays coming out of the Umpqua Valley in Oregon. And this is a really fun, really special wine. I've never ever seen it in another restaurant. And for an entry-level Chardonnay at $13, it's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, this one has been selling really well. Easy to push onto people. It really kind of brings something for any Chardonnay drinker. Like I said, it's still going to have some of that butteriness for people that are more the oaky buttery drinkers. But for those that don't want that oaky butteriness, but they still want some of that fruit forwardness with a little more acidity, this is just a great wine to go with.
Perfect.